shattering quake and piercing cold, we have watched the past fade, the present form, and await the suspenseful drama of future unfold. Sculpted in togetherness, chiseled into grim rock face, united in curious spirit, two of a reflecting kind, inspired by him to watch the theatre of race and space, and in the tumult of ages some deeper purpose find.
Wow. And when you say it, it just flows. And it's very beautifully written because it says what it says, and there is no such agony of trying to put the words in rhyme, and they just, very beautifully they flow together.
Yeah, it took me about a year to write, and I'd like to share with you a small but very meaningful source of inspiration which I have. I've lived for several years in Kemang, and as you know, there are many furniture shops in Kemang.
Very beautiful carved furniture.
And I would often find that there was a lot of devotion with which a craftsman would polish furniture or handicrafts, and day after day, with a lot of devotion, they actually polish.
Yeah.
And
they keep at it.
Yeah, they keep at it before the final product is sold.
Correct.
And I think that's a very ingrained Indonesian trait, where there is a lot of devotion. It's not just a commercial aspect. Right. There is a devotion to the craft.
They work at it with their heart.
And I have tried to imbibe that, learn that simple lesson from the street. So when I write these books, I spend a lot of time polishing it, reflecting on what I have written, and I think the more you do it, you get that crispness.
I see.
And the right words, but that comes through a lot of devotion and polishing the work.
So, but it's taken, you definitely write when you say it takes a lot of time, means you've been writing since you were 5. And this has been a really long journey in terms of finally coming in culmination in books like these, where you also have your latest book coming out called Modern Traumas. And this is a collection of short poems, and you also have collages in it.
Yes. We live in a difficult time, as we know, and if we look at our children, we often wonder in the next 10 years, what kind of a world are they going to inherit? And I think as a creative person, it sometimes disturbs me that there are some issues which seem to be resulting in more confrontation or more stress for everybody. Right. So this was a book looking at the world as we see it, things like consumerism or violence or materialism, bureaucracy, the environment, the degradation which is also happening in Indonesia.
Correct.
On the rainforest. Yes, there's one piece I'd like to read to you, which is from a poem which is called Disproportionate. Okay. And I drew a sketch of a rhino.
Oh, this is a sketch I saw on the website, and
yes.
in fact I wanted to talk to you about it.
And this is called Disproportionate. It says, I'll read an excerpt which says, 5 billion humans, 5,000 rhinos. So that puts you in such a huge
ratio, yes.
Contrast. A lovely species, the rhino, which is endangered both in India and Indonesia.
Correct.
And humans, which are populating and therefore creating trouble for other species.
Yeah.
5 billion humans, 5,000 rhinos, tons of plastic, synthetic, concrete, tar, petroleum, chemical, fabric, metallic, timber, paper, other consumerist capers, litter, emissions, effluents, discharges, overflowing landfills, mounds of waste. 5 billion humans, 5,000 rhinos, passionately created concrete jungles, manicured lawns, palms, potted plants, caged birds, coddled pets, city zoos, hacked habitat, blown reef, wiped forest, manly knack for irreversible erosions. 5 billion humans, 5,000 rhinos.
Wow.
So this is really looking at
the environment
the need, and something you are concerned about as well, on how we need to start thinking that our own actions, what are the effects, and since we have superior intelligence, let us start devoting energy to alternative fuels, recycling,
and
tree planting,
regreening,
and coexisting, because coexistence is not just amongst each other, but
Right.
it's also with other species.
In fact, that was the theme of a recent tree plantation we did where you had come as well, Amol. And one of the thoughts was that we should be very aware of what we have now left with us.
Yes.
And preserve and nurture it so that we don't lose any more of what we've already lost.
That's correct. And this is also a theme in the dialogue between the mountains, where, you know, if you look at mountains, they predate any kind of living being.
Correct.
So the mountains, the glaciers, I think we need to take inspiration from them. And, you know, the way they have existed, the way they have really nourished life,
Correct.
you know, through water, through greenery. I think there's inspiration in that, which is what a summit at Jungfrau Joch talks about.
You have also written about other countries like Sri Lanka. So there's Afghanistan, there's Sri Lanka, there's Switzerland. And how do you do your research? Do you actually go to these countries?
Yes, I think a lot of literature comes out of sparks based on travel. So at some point in time you may have traveled. So there's this novel in Sri Lanka which I'm in the process of finalizing, which is based on an elephant festival near Kandy, which I happened to visit some years ago. And this is a novel which pits an elephant against a terrorist, and it's set one night in this elephant festival called Perahera.
Okay. Sounds like a very interesting book. One should pick it up and read that. You also do workshops, of writing workshops with children, and you do that at Aksara here. And what gave you that inspiration to start a writer's workshop?
I think with children it's important to encourage them to start looking at books apart from television and PlayStation and so on.
Yeah.
And I think some children, they don't develop the confidence. So even though they may have a creative impulse, they give it up. And this is particularly true for Indonesian children who want to write in English. So my workshops are aimed at giving them confidence, of making them read books, and helping them to, you know, just try scribbling, just like you try and play a guitar or play the piano. It's the same process. You may not become a published author, but the basic objective of writing, of any creative form, is to express yourself.
Correct.
And I think when you're able to express yourself, that gives you some element of satisfaction.
It has been very interesting talking to you, Amol, because not only does it give me the inspiration that if writing is like drawing, then anybody can do it, and it's just a medium of self-expression. One should not be scared to put their thoughts on paper. And in fact, we think we will have you again on our India Talk show, because there's so much more that we need to talk about and learn from you on the various aspects that you cover in Indonesia here.
Thank you very much. This is a blessing to be in this country and to observe this exciting, to be part of this exciting time. And I've really enjoyed being on the show. Thank you.
Thank you, Amol. And viewers, do log in to Indoindians.com. If you have any feedback, advice, or if you want to be on the show, do write to Poonam at Indoindians.com. And we look forward to hearing from you, meeting